Coming soon to own on video
YouTube
and
and Twitch.
DVD.
Why you don't want spider powers? No, seriously. I feel like the way how you get it, obviously the canon event, you lose your uncle who's like the father figure in your life. You're a broke broke young teenager in high school. So you have to earn your money. And a lot of the people you fight are very, very strong, but you're also very strong. I'm trying to think, like, Spider-Man goes through a lot of torment and torture, though. I will say that. Let's go straight to it.
We've all been here, right? I mean, not actually swinging through buildings, but rather wishing it was possible. So,
Somewhat.
what if it was? If we ignore the fact that a radioactive spider bite would give us cancer instead of superpowers, then would you want to get bit? And if so, then how would your powers work with real life tech and physics? Would they even work at all? Trust me, it's way more complicated than you think. So let's start simple, shall we?
All right, talk to me.
Miles, let's go.
Believe me when I tell you that the bite itself is the least of your problems. Or
Very much
is
so.
it? Picture this: a spider with venom just as radioactive as plutonium, yes, the element used to make one of these, just happened to bite your hand. First of all, ouch. And second of all, if we ignored superhero logic for just 1 second, then the radiation alone from the venom would be able to send you to bed. Forever.
Yeah, that
The
shit
channel
putting you down.
Because Science already did the numbers, and they basically concluded that if the level of radiation is high enough to mutate your DNA, then it would also be enough to render every organ in your body useless in about 2 weeks.
So that's just like those like fish in Australia. You step on it, you have complete organ failure.
So let's assume that your new healing factor allows you to take the dose safely. In that case, congratulations. You just became Spider Man. But you're missing something really important, and you're gonna wish it was the suit. I will now present you with two choices, and whichever one you choose will determine how likely.
I'm pretty sure he's gonna ask web shooter or organic shooter. Me personally, I'm going with web shooter. Uh, I don't want to be in my bed and just wake up to a bunch of webs around me. I don't know.
You are to actually be able to use your webs. Got it? Nice. Option 1. As in the original comic book, you're unable to naturally produce web fluid from your wrists. Instead, you're forced to create a small device that sits on your wrist capable of storing and dispensing white sticky strings of web at hundreds of miles an hour. Option 2. Your body was given the ability to produce its own web fluid that is only known to run out whenever you suffer from depression.
That's it.
Got your choice? Let's go over them.
Yeah, I'm going with option one still. I'm not gonna lie.
In case you choose to build your own web shooters from scratch, well, you've got a big problem. Two of them, actually. Remember when we were kids and we used to say, I'm sure after watching this movie, engineers will lock in and build one of these in like 10 years? Yeah. Don't get me wrong, people have done their best over the years, but nothing even remotely close to this, mainly for the lack of tech. Now, what if we did have the tech? That's where the second problem comes in. Even if you had the right resources to build the web shooters, the average person is not qualified to build one of these. But I'm not saying you can't. If you somehow manage to create a sticky fluid strong enough to lift a car, compact enough to fit more than one shot on your wrist, and a device powerful enough to shoot webs across buildings, then great! You'll only have to focus on the physics then. But
I just realized something. Like for feel like for every different Spider-Man, it would have been cool if like Tom Holland, instead of having to make his wrist shooters, he had to make a device where like it enters his wrist and there like he can basically so like Toby had the natural shooters where he shoots at his wrist. Andrew Garfield has the machine ones where he has to make it. I feel like it would have been cool if Tom Holland also had the ability to shoot out his wrist, but like it didn't come out, so he had to make a machine to enter his bloodstream to make it shoot out. I feel like that would have been cool because like they all would have been different, completely different versions. Well, they are, but you feel me?
We'll get to that later. By the way, I'd like to know your thoughts on how your web shooters would work. Read you in the comments. So okay, option 2. Your body automatically secretes webs from your wrists. Sounds simple, right? Kinda. It's true that you won't have to worry about the shooters breaking or running out of webs. Or do you? And I'm not just talking about the midlife crisis that may or may not take your powers away, but also, have you ever wondered how your body would produce these webs?
I would assume it's like how your body generates nut. I don't know.
You see, real spider silk is composed of mostly proteins, which in this case,
Oh, so just how your body produces nut.
you can also produce, but not infinitely. Meaning you can't technically run out of web fluid, as your body wouldn't be able to keep up with the production of webs at the rate you would need it to. Or maybe you can and I'm just talking shit. Do I look like a scientist? Oh. Anyway, we can all agree
Nigga, if you don't just carry some snacks with you, bro, get a nice little recharge in.
that if you want a better chance to be able to use your webs, you're better off producing them yourself. However, one thing is using them to pull cans of Dr. Pepper towards you, and the other is using them to swing around New York in tights. So, let's talk about swing. Unlike sticking to walls and super strength, swinging is not as straightforward as it might seem, and it all has to do with physics. Don't worry, I'll make this fun, but only if you subscribe. Nah, I'm still making it fun. So, your first problem would be G-forces.
Yeah.
Not what I said. The problem isn't that you wouldn't be able to take the G's themselves, rather the blood getting pulled away from important organs, like, I don't know, the brain? MatPat did an amazing video a few years ago explaining the numbers, so go check it out later. But essentially, he explained how swinging could pull away blood from your brain, leading to a small little problem: fainting.
Just midair.
But sure, let's assume your brain keeps blood up there even while swinging. However, what happens when it's every organ in your body that's moving? Let's play a game, shall we? Question: what will happen next? Peter will hit the wall. Peter will face through the wall. Peter's organs will get crushed. You will subscribe to the channel.
Option A.
Pretty easy, right? Let's try that again.
God
Same situation as
damn.
before, but this time, whoa. Looking back at MatPat's video, we can see that indeed, momentum exists, which means that at a high enough speed, every landing, either in walls or the floor, might just end up with your organs getting.
God
But wait,
damn.
maybe Spider-Man's super strength allows him to sustain impacts at
About to say, doesn't this nigga have super durability as well? So technically, can't he just tank that?
high speeds, right? Sure, but we still have one more problem that proves how Spider-Man couldn't care less for physics. Check out the end of the swing in this clip. Did you catch it? We'll get to it in a second.
That's
But
like
maybe
some
this
gymnast
video will
shit.
make things clear. Interesting, right? Both in games and movies, Spider-Man's coolest tricks are only possible because he never seems to lose any momentum. Just look at how he keeps spinning around Ant-Man's legs with no regard for gravity. But unfortunately, life isn't a movie.
Yeah, he would just sink.
Minus, shut up. Going back to the video, you can see how the ball didn't win any momentum. It actually lost some due to air resistance. This principle unfortunately proves how it would be impossible for you to gain height or keep a constant speed by only swinging normally.
Well, he could technically gain height by gripping the web and yanking himself upwards with his super strength, but going like sideways wouldn't actually help
Which
anything.
means that instead of your swinging looking like this, it would look something like this.
Ew, dude! What the
But wait,
Hey,
it's
that's
not
just
all
as
bad
fine.
news though. Because if you manage to get to a high enough building and you don't miss your webs, then you could have enough initial momentum that combined with functional web wings and the occasional web zips, you could theoretically make it pretty far, to be honest. Oh wait, what if...
There's nothing
Yeah,
to
you
grab
should.
onto.
But it can always get worse. And unfortunately for you, it just might. If you haven't noticed by now, I've barely mentioned every other Spider-Man ability except from web swinging. And there's a reason for it. If you think about it, the rest of abilities would be so cool and useful to have. A tingle that prevents incoming dangers,
Nah, cause then you'll always have the tingle.
being able to stick to the ceiling, cause how cool is that? Strength and resistance that make you a living tank, and a healing factor that gets you saying stuff like this.
The doctor said you still have 14 broken bones.
Which means I have 192 non-broken ones.
Damn.
Yep.
Unfortunately, the reason these are so useful is the same reason you might not want to use them very often. I'm not saying there isn't people who wouldn't love you and treat you as the hero you would be. Hero, right? Okay, cool. But when the news eventually spread about your DNA potentially being able to cure any disease or even treat cancer, then you've got a bigger problem than just
Oh yeah, and now you the asshole if you don't help nobody.
feigning while web swinging. In the real world, you would be considered a genetic holy grail, and even though your blood could lead to people looking like this, that's not stopping scientists from running
I'm trying.
tests until it doesn't. So then again, you've got two choices, so choose wisely. Option 1, you either turn yourself in so your body can be studied for what's probably the rest of your life, or option 2, where you don't ever show your superpowers to the world. Because if you do, you risk getting caught by practically every government on Earth. So, what would you do?
Every government. Nigga, this is an American problem. And no other government is touching foot in New York to grab this nigga. America gonna keep this nigga hidden in a cell in Area 51.
See, if you decided to turn yourself in, two things are likely to happen.
I'm not turning myself
First, your DNA would be incompatible with any human, meaning scientists will try to solve the problem for years before letting you go. If they let you go.
What do you mean, if?
On top of that, the results of harnessing your genetic material could go from curing diseases and healing broken bones in days to having entire armies of super soldiers around the globe. I'll let you guess why that isn't a good idea. Now, if you instead decide to hide your powers forever, then sure, it should work. If it wasn't for one small problem. Getting blood samples and your DNA tested is extremely dangerous. Oh,
Yeah.
and having kids too, but that's regardless of the spider powers. So getting your superhuman genes checked, or even worse, spreading them around the gene pool, is off the table, since it might just leave you or your child in the same situation as option 1. But hey, that's just a theory. So feel free to leave your opinion and say if you would like to get bit or not.
I'm not gonna lie, Spider-Man. Maybe if I didn't live in New York, probably. But if it's in New York, fuck no. But let me know how y'all feel down below. See y'all boys later.
Why you standing all by yourself? Those shoes are made for dancing with someone else. Why don't we move over to that empty space? I'll bet you $20, I'll put a smile on your face. I know a place where we can dance the night away. Maybe we could try